You are watching the online live stream of San Francisco Community Managers Meetup. I'm Susan, and we are here today at the San Francisco Nonprofit Technology Center in the Mission. It's the home of Aspiration Tech. I'm actually wearing their hoodie as a statement of allegiance to Tech for Good activist orgs. With that, I'm going to let Bea Dominguez take it away and talk about being a remote community manager, a digital nomad.
Hi, sweet. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
This is the name of the thing is working remotely, working efficiently, digital nomads. You're in the San Francisco Nonprofit Technology Center. And thank you to our sponsors, Salesforce and Community Cloud. And the hashtag is OCTribe. All right. So today I'll talk about freelancing versus remote work. So those two things are different and what differences are. Is it a dream? What are the benefits for you and then for your company as well? The struggle, so common challenges of being remote. The path towards location independence, like what I did and what other people have done, and then the questions you need to ask yourself to make sure that you do it because it's not all great. Tools about time management, so then I'll go through a list of like tools that I use all the time and that keep me sane and okay when I'm on the road. And so let's get started. Okay, so I'll tell you about me. So I'm doing currently marketing consulting. That's because I didn't want to just have the community umbrella when I was looking at a title. I wanted to have something a bit more broad. I'm freelancing, so I'm not a remote worker. And I'll get into the difference of that in a bit, but what's different is that I sometimes, for example, will write a blog, so that's content, so it goes under marketing. I will help with localization, which is translation work, and that goes under marketing. So I wanted to give myself a more broad title, which is freelance marketing consultant. Currently, I'm working with Namecheap, with IFT, which is If This Then That, which is a really wonderful tool that if you are working in social media and marketing, basically connects two services together. It's wonderful. Good Eggs, they're the food delivery service here in San Francisco. And then Mission Box, which is a capacity building nonprofit. I've been to 33 countries since 2016. I've lived in 2 different cities, Berlin and Zurich. Now in SF, I'm going to Colombia soon, and then I'm going back to Zurich, which is now what I want to call my home base, if they give me a visa. Immigration offices, look at this. Okay, so digital nomad, freelancer, or remote worker. Basically, all these pictures can be the same thing. But if you're a freelancer, you don't necessarily have to be a digital nomad. You can freelance from home or from wherever you live. If you're a remote worker, you also don't necessarily have to be a digital nomad because you can just work for an office and be remote. And if you're a digital nomad, you can either be a freelancer or a remote worker. So you can be both. I don't necessarily love the term digital nomad because I feel like it's kind of like the term Instagram influencer. And I'm just like done with that. Like it's just, to me, it just means I'm location independent. And I don't necessarily have to be in a certain time zone to be able to do my work. Of course, that, because of my interests, allows me the ability to travel, and I've been really interested in that, and so I do it, but not everyone necessarily wants to do that. But again, the terms are just the ones that are the most popular right now. Okay, so what's really good? And here I'll go into what's good for an employee and what's good for a company, in case there's any company out there that wants to maybe go remote or try it. So obviously flexibility, travel, there's no commute, not listed here, but you can work on in your PJs. That's pretty good. If you have a family, you have increased family time. I know people that work remotely because they have children, and it's really important for them to go pick them up from school. I know someone that works remotely because he has a dog, and he really wants to be able to walk his dog and play with his dog and be with his dog. Increased personal time. You also get to work when you're most productive. I'm not sure if it's an issue for anyone here in the room, but I don't know if you have these times when it's like, oh, it's like midnight, and you just have this surge of energy, and you feel like everything's quiet, you can concentrate, you can actually work on something. But at 3 p.m., you really just want to go get a cup of coffee or have some yoga. If you're a remote worker, if you're a flexible worker, you can do that, and you can't do that if you're in your office. Some offices allow you to do that, but usually you're there in the office. For a company, you usually have happier employees, a wider talent pool. Specifically here in San Francisco, where hiring software engineers is the most difficult thing you can possibly do. If you open your company to be remote, you can tap talent in other cities that could be just as good, maybe a bit cheaper, and just really makes it better. Less sick days and personal days. I haven't taken a full holiday in about 2 years. Like a couple weeks where I don't check email, I don't talk to anyone, I don't respond, I don't work. It's been 2 years. So for my employer, that's probably great. And for me, probably not so great. But I feel like I have a pretty good work and life balance, so I don't feel like I need it as much as I did when I was working full time. I don't have that need of I need to get out of the office, or I need to not be locked up in this office. So that really helps. Diverse opinions and perspectives. I think that comes from having remote people, because you might have if you're building a product, and we've had this issue, and you realize that if you send that product somewhere else and the colors of the design are just not what someone in that locale would find appealing, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, because we have someone that works here and they know that pink is a terrible color for business and we should never use it. And that's something you wouldn't know if your entire team was US based. And that had actually happened to us for our campaign. We used blue. We were using it in a country where blue is not a good color. We didn't know, but then someone else told us. We're like, now we know. The boundaries of collaboration and communication are expanded. For me, when I have time with people that I work remote, I have to be focused. I have to pay attention, and I have to really collaborate because I'm not with them in the office all the time. So it feels like a privilege that I get to talk to this person. And so for that reason, I feel like we often work faster and more efficiently, and we collaborate a bit better because it's like, oh, I'm going to get you on the phone for this 1 hour. I might not be able to get you on the phone again. And then innovation, and I think that goes back to the different perspectives, the different locales, like different cities. You have more diversity, but you can have more innovation. So, and then here on the little bubble, this is what I get every time I say to people that I am a remote worker. Like, oh my God, you can travel. Yeah, and stuff. The bad. How do you know people aren't slacking off? That is the question I get always. How do your clients know you're not slacking off? How does the company you work for knows you're not slacking off? It's like, ugh. So for you, the bad, loneliness. It's hard sometimes to get out or even motivate yourself because you can work in your PJs and you're like, oh, I'm home, or it's cold. Winter in Europe, I was a hermit. I think I didn't leave my house for weeks. So I was like, well, I'm just going to be here because it's cold and I don't want to do anything. So you get really lonely. You're like, oh, anytime I had a call with someone, I was like, oh, tell me about your life. How's the outside world? Distractions, no focus. If you're binge watching something on Netflix and you don't have to be in the meeting the next day, that can really bleed into your day. You're like, but I'm just going to watch that one episode of this one thing I'm watching. It's really hard. So, yes. No boundaries, always on. I try to be as responsive as I can. It's just a personal thing. But sometimes I'll be out at a bar and someone will text me and I'll just be like, oh yeah, well, let me just quickly check this. Don't do that. But a lot of remote workers do that. They just have no boundaries. They're just always on. They just always answer, and you kind of have to do that. Oh, the time zones. That's, someone messages something at 5 a.m. You're not seeing it till 4 or 5 hours later. I think you have to work in a relationship with someone where they know you'll get to it eventually, and they know that but if something needs to be done urgently and you're in a completely different time zone, this is not going to work. So that's a big no. No paid time off if you're freelancing. I do have paid time off baked into one of my contracts, but not to my other contracts. So if I take some time off, I have to either make up the hours on other days, or I'm just not going to get paid for it. And then no Wi-Fi equals big problems. I've been in Myanmar, which is not very developed, and I didn't have Wi-Fi at a lot of hotels, and I was freaking out because I hadn't even checked my email. Thankfully, there was nothing due. At that time, I had reduced my load, and so I didn't have that many clients, but it was still very stressful. No Wi-Fi, how am I going to do my job? Just that's the only thing you rely on. For a company, again, there's a lot of concerns with productivity. I think companies that are not remote, or people that have not worked with remote workers, or people that have had bad experiences with remote workers, because that happens. There's, you can take advantage of the situation. Not that you can't do it in the offices, you can. There's concern around company culture. Yeah, if you're alone and working by yourself and you don't really see your coworkers at all, then how do you feel like you're part of something or part of a team? It's really difficult. So definitely a lot of companies are concerned about company culture. A lot of the systems currently, and this is thankfully changing, and there's a lot of technology out there for working remotely, but they might be designed for in-person meetings or collaboration. For example, if you think of agile methodology, which a lot of startups here like to use, scrums are you stand up and in person you tell what's happening in your day. How do you mimic that if you're working remotely? I mean, you can, but a lot of the systems are designed for like teams that are collaborating and talking together. Security, again, I think this is like not having the right tech issue. There's VPN, and when you VPN from anywhere in the world, the connection is secure, and your employer will know that you're secure. But for a lot of companies, that can be a concern. They just don't have the right tech to do it. And then missed opportunities for collaboration. I think sometimes a really great thing about being next to someone is you tap them on the shoulder, you ask them a question, that person like answers, the answer gives you an idea, and then you're like, oh, now we're working on this project together. And then again, time zones. That's just for everyone.
Can I ask you a question about
Yes.
that? So like missed opportunities for collaboration is a huge one for me.
Yeah.
Like when you're not in a regular thing, but you're creating stuff, startup. So are you going to talk more about how you get around that, or that's just acknowledged as a bad
This
thing?
is I'm acknowledging is a bad thing. I mean, for me, the way that I get around it is that, so I like the life that I built for myself, and I don't want to lose it. So for me, it is really important to have my clients trust. And so I go above and beyond to have my clients trust. And when I get on the phone with a client, or when a client has a request, like I'm extremely responsive. When a client needs something, I will email 100 ideas that I have. Because I don't want anyone to say, oh, well, I don't want to work with Bea anymore because she's in Switzerland.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't want that. So I think that a lot of the pluses and minuses have to do with the individual. For example, loneliness. I know a remote girl who's never lonely because she's always out, no matter what, looking for people. So I think it's sort of like the common gripes, the common things that make you like not think it's great, but it's sort of up on you and on having the right person that will do it. Is that kind of?
Sort of.
Yeah, sort of. I don't have a solution for these things. I mean, some can be solved with
Yeah.
I
technology.
would say that another bad thing for you would be not having, you have to arrive with connections.
Oh, yeah.
Like, not, had I not known you,
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't have known about you. You know what I mean? Like, it's harder to hire somebody on Upwork and trust them.
Yeah.
So, like, you have to kind of arrive with your own network.
And that I'll talk about that in like the path of becoming a
That's
digital
right,
nomad.
go ahead.
No, but it's actually, that's a really great point, because what I found is, especially when I was staying in hostels and I'm older, there would be like a 21, 22-year-old girl being like, oh my God, I love what you do and I really want to do it. And I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, oh, I just graduated college and I did communications. I'm like, that's great. And then they're like, and I just want to travel the world and take pictures and I get paid for it. And I'm like, that's nice. I worked my ass off 10 years.
Right.
I built contacts, and then when I made a decision, I saved a lot of money. I went back to school to try to learn new skills. I'm like, so I don't know if it's going to be. It's not that easy. I'm like, you see it now, but it's not that simple.
Yeah.
Should I do it? So, and this is actually very personal, but this was the list of questions that I asked myself before leaving. And I found this list. I didn't take a picture of it, but I almost did. And I was like, no, there's some personal stuff. I'm not going to do that. But I was like, is this part of my goals? Career, family, long term. When I went and decided that I was going to quit my job and go travel and live in hostels and from a backpack and kind of work remotely, I was 32, and initially my goal was, I want to get married, I want to have kids, I want to buy a house. That's very different. Very, very different. But I had to level with myself and realize, okay, well, I think what I want is this. I don't want this. This is a dream that was fed to me that I'm supposed to want. This is what I actually want. But it was really difficult to disconnect the. And so I really invite anyone who wants to go at it remotely and travel. If you want to go at it remotely in your home, knock yourself out. But for me, it was like the whole traveling part was like, is this going to fit my goals from 5 years, 10 years? Like, what is my goal? And really sit down and plan it out. Like, what do I want? Why do I want to do it? This one just came from the encountering really young people at hostels that were like, oh, I love this. It's like, why do you want to do it? Like, what is it that's driving you? And of course, everyone has different drivers. Like I said, family is great. If you want to spend more time with your kids, that's a wonderful reason to want it. If you are just tired of being in an office, it's also a really wonderful reason. But I think you have to really get to the core of why you want it. If you want it because it sounds cool, and it's something I really, I dreamt of doing this, like, be careful what you wish for. Like, at times, it's not, all great. Traveling, and I knew someone who quit their job when traveling, and like week 2, they're like, I'm tired of being in a hostel. I'm like, that's what it's like. So you have a room with a bunch of people, and you're in a tiny bed, and it's likely uncomfortable. And it doesn't have to happen anywhere. I mean, eventually, I've lived in cities and have an apartment. Why is this important to me? Again, it's just really getting to the core of why you want to do something. Because things can sound really cool and seem really cool, but if they don't fit your goals and why you think it's important, then you definitely shouldn't do it. How long can I do it? Honestly, I didn't think it was going to be 2 years. And I've lived in places. I've spent like 7 months in Berlin, and then I spent like 8 months in Zurich. But we're going at like 2 years, and the first 6 months were fully, I'm living in a hostel. I don't think I could have done longer than that. That was my cutoff. And I had sanity checks. So I would be at a hostel for 2 weeks, and then I would book myself in a really expensive hotel for like a weekend, and I'd be in the bathrobe and do nothing, and I'd watch Netflix and have like this really like, ooh, the bed is comfortable, I'm great. Because I couldn't sustain it for longer. Some people can go years doing that and living off of a backpack and never purchasing anything, and that's fine. And in the never purchasing anything, all I know in the present moment is a dresser. I don't own anything else. Yeah, all I own is a dresser and my computer. Yeah, and clothes. Yeah. I mean, I share that with my partner who owns an apartment where I'm living, so I'm kind of lucky there.
No blender.
No, I actually really want to buy a toaster. That's, yeah.
I'll give you one to bring back.
Yes,
toaster. Yeah.
Am I self-motivated? And this goes back to your question around collaboration and productivity and feeling like you can be with someone. Not everyone is cut out to do it. You have to make up for not being there by being more enthusiastic, by being more collaborative, by trying to make sure that you never cause your employer to think, ooh, I shouldn't have made this decision. And I don't think that we all want that. I don't think that we all can do it all the time. Like, I don't even know if I can do this like this forever. So, but I know that I'm self-motivated. Am I easily distracted? If you're someone who gets easily distracted, who needs to be in an office and locked down and like really be disciplined in a certain way with work, this isn't for you. For me, that's, for example, yoga. I know people who can motivate themselves to do yoga every day from their home. I can't. I have to pay for a class, because if I pay for it, then I'll show up. And then I have to maybe even have someone that I'm going with, because if I have social pressure to show up, I will show up. I know myself, I know my motivations. That is not one. Know them. Again, that goes back to being disciplined. Am I organized? If you're a remote worker and you're working for one company, perhaps you should always be organized, but perhaps this isn't as key. But I have 4 clients, 3 emails, 3 different chats, different systems of collaboration and like phone calls. And I have to keep track of all of them, passwords. So many passwords for so many accounts. So I have to keep track of all of them. And I have spreadsheets, I have like notes, I try to keep myself really organized, but I think it's really important. Another one is, am I good with money? Again, this is more for the freelancer and not so much for the remote worker that's having a salary. If you're a freelancer, at some points you can have a lot of clients and be really busy. And at other times you might not have that many, you might just have one. Sometimes you might be, if you're traveling, in a really cheap city, and then at another time you might be at a really expensive city. And so that just, you need to be good with money, pretty much. How do I do it? So what I did, and this is actually something I recommend for anyone, build up your skills. So we all have things that we're doing right now, but then we all have things that we're interested in and we can be better at. I was really interested in visual design, and because I was doing social media and marketing, I knew that people were interested in people who knew how to do design. So I paid for a course here in San Francisco at General Assembly. You're welcome. Free press. And I decided to go build up my skills. From then, while I was still employed full time, I emailed everyone I knew, including Susan, and I said, I have times on the weekends and on evenings, I just learned this new skill, I will do something for you, what do you think? I did a couple things for free for people, I did a couple things paid for people, and then there was a point in time, I was also saving for my trip, but there was a point in time where I was like working nights and weekends. Someone asked me to do a flyer for them, and I had just learned how to do design, and I had no idea how, and I said yes. And I didn't sleep for 2 days because I would go to work and then I would get home and I would work on trying to figure out how to do that flyer. And then it would be like 4 a.m. and I'm going to sleep for a couple hours and going to work and then doing it again because I needed to give this to the people. So I think the whole building up your skill and working while you still have a job, it's not that easy. You kind of have to make that effort. Find remote work. I think you can pitch remote work to your company and set a trial period. I know people that have done that. I tried. They said no. I was still very committed to the path. I knew I was still going to do it even if I didn't have a job. But I did. I talked to them and I said, listen, I can do my job from anywhere. I feel really burned out. I've set this goal for myself that I want to go travel. Could I continue doing certain things? They said no. Some companies might say yes. If you do come in with an arsenal of reasons why you, because like Susan said earlier, she hired me because she knew me. The company knows you and they know your work ethic and it's good. They might say yes. They might say no.
What are the kind of questions or the kind of points you should put in your arsenal?
The time zone is not going to be an issue. So, for example, right now, one of my clients is in Europe. And if they need me to be awake for a call at 5 a.m., I am awake for a call at 5 a.m. They know that I will be. So to say time zone is not going to be a concern. If you need me to be up at 5 a.m. for something, if you need me to be up till 3 a.m., like I will do it. That's really important to people. In terms of like collaboration and tools, I think your question's pretty important, and your point's really important that you feel like, oh, I'm not going to be able to tap you to ask you for something. I think just bringing up like I can still do brainstorms, I can be there at this time. I think it's going to be more productive because we can be disciplined and have like brainstorming sessions. You can also talk about like money. I know San Francisco has pretty high salaries. If someone's like thinking, oh, I'm going to move to Thailand, you don't have to keep your own salary. I took a pay cut for doing what I'm doing, and I'm happy that I did. I know not, and again, this goes back to ask yourself, am I really committed to do it, and I'm willing to do the things that might happen for me to do it. While you're working, and this is what I did, take a freelance gig on the side and save enough money until you feel confident you can quit and sustain clients. That is what I did. I saved money enough to know that I could be away for 6 months and survive, and that I had clients that could still keep me. They weren't going to be full-time. It wasn't going to be a lot, but I organized my finances to make sure that I could do it. And then there's a lot of companies that hire remotely, and you can get a job with them. They're obviously competitive because you're competing with the entire world, but they're out there. And there's actually a really great list of remote companies that are hired remotely, and you can visit. There's a website called NOMAD list that I'll talk about in the end, and I'll put their logo. But you can sign up, and they have like jobs that they can send you. We work remotely. Also, we'll send you jobs for remote, like companies that are hired remotely, or even for like freelance gigs. Then remove any barriers of freedom, like plan what you're doing once you become remote. So my plan was, I'm traveling 6 months, I'm going to be in hostels, I got rid of all my furniture, tons of clothes, things I didn't need. It was great. I couldn't even do the Marie Kondo because there were so many things I got rid of that brought me joy. But I just couldn't bring them with me. My bed brought me so much joy. It was such a great bed. But I couldn't bring it with me. So you have to get rid of things that you don't need. And then choose your locations. And then go. Right. Okay, technology and tools. This is very fun. I only put logos. I'll talk about it in a bit. So for productivity, these are the things I use every day. Google Suite, I think you guys are familiar with that. You can collaborate with documents, presentations, spreadsheets, all in real time. You can share them with people. I live here. Boomerang for Gmail. If you don't have that extension in your Gmail account, if you have a Gmail account, download it now. It is great for scheduling emails and sending them around. It's also great for if you send an email and that person didn't respond to you, you can set it to send the email back into your inbox and remind you. So for example, if I send something to someone and they don't remind in 3 days, I will get my email again on my inbox because I go by, if my email is on red, I still have to do something with it. If it's not on red, then it's done, completed task. So that's my management kind of like trick. So Boomerang is really helpful. If you're in a different time zone, like sometimes I need to send an email to someone and I don't want them to get it at 3 a.m. because I don't know if they maybe are going to be checking email and I want to be considerate and I don't know what to do. Then I boomerang it to arrive at 8 a.m. their time, so it's like first thing in their inbox, but it's not disruptive at their time. Also I used to, when I was here in San Francisco, I used to do meetups like this, and I needed to tell the staff to clean their desks. So I had a recurring boomerang email that every time I had an event was like, clean your desk, don't leave your computers out. We're having an event today, there's going to be food, but you can't eat it first because the guests have to eat it first. And then that email was just like automated, and everyone's like, you're so organized. I'm like, yeah, I wrote that email once. Grammarly, I can't spell to save my life. I can't. I can't do it in Spanish, I can't do it in English. I'm certainly never going to learn how to do it in German. And Grammarly just helps me so much with like punctuation, like all of these different things. And I run everything by Grammarly. It's great. I have the premium version because it's worth it for me because I write for a living. But if there's a free version that's also pretty good. To-do list, also really great. It's basically a to-do list, and you can keep it organized in different ways. You can connect it with other services. You can actually connect it with IFT, which I'll talk about next. And I know I work with them, but shameless plug. But IF stands for if this then that, and it's basically connect services to one another through the condition that if I do this, then I want this to happen. For me and with social and as community managers, for example, it's like if I Instagram a photo, I want to tweet it as a native photo, not as a link. If I have a hashtag, can you put it in a spreadsheet, and then I'll have that hashtag on the spreadsheet. There's a lot of different things you can connect it with. You can also connect it to your smart home. I don't have anything. I'm going to have a toaster soon. And so if the toaster was smart, I could connect it to something else, and it does really cool things, but definitely check it out. Asana is a project management system that I know the Meetup is actually going to be there next month. So check out their offices. What I like about Asana and also Trello, so I use both of them because different teams have different things they prefer. So I used Asana with one client and I used Trello with another client. And they have a lot of drag and drop features where you're like, if you complete a task, you get to like move it around and other people get to see it, and it's a lot of transparency. And in terms of collaboration, I think this provides whoever you're working with like here is basically what I'm doing, when I'm doing it, how quickly I'm getting it done. So it's a great way of like keeping people updated. And Trello is actually really, that user interface is really nice.
Can I ask you a question about that? So did you set those up on your own and then your clients and coworkers use them, or like you happen to work for a company that had Asana, so then you got an account?
So I have Asana set up for one of my clients that I set up myself because they don't have a project management system. And so I give them access of like my tasks. I have an Asana task for me, my personal, and then I have one that's like just I'm sharing with them. And then my private one includes all of my clients. And then for Trello, Trello is with, that was already set up with another client. And
What
they
is
have
Trello
it.
again?
It's like an Asana.
Okay,
But it used to be mostly for product stories. So it used to be very reserved to just developers, and now they've expanded it and they added new features, and so now it's kind of like over-encompassing. But the system is the same, and this is why they have a little card, which is like you have cards of tasks that you're moving around. It's nice. I like it. But it depends. I mean, I think that if you're working at a company that's really technical, they'll try to like go Trello. If you're working at a company that's anything, that they'll go more Asana. That's mine. Unless somebody has a different.
I use Basecamp.
Oh, then Basecamp was like big and
super
nonprofit that way.
easy,
Yeah.
like to use, very easy user interface.
Yeah.
I use it personally and day job, so that's what I like.
Yeah, I used it at Texas.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah, so there's a million. There's a project management system for anybody, and you can find them. And Asana's free, I think, if you're less than I don't know how many people, because it's free for me. I don't think, right? Collaboration. So I send really large files through WeTransfer, just because you can't have an attachment that's like too big. And sometimes you can upload them into Google and Google Drive and then send them as Google Drive. You can do it on a Dropbox. There's many ways to do file transfer. I like WeTransfer. I think it's pretty easy to use. For my clients, I use different things. I also use my phone, but we have Flock, which is basically like a Slack, which is a messaging system. It's pretty standard. It's kind of like your GChat, but on steroids. And it does so much. Like you can share files. It's supposed to like replace email in a lot of ways. I don't think it should. I think certain things, especially tasks that you want someone to execute, you should always send them on email so they have them kind of a permanent record. But if you're checking in with someone quickly about something, these two are really great. I use WhatsApp. So for example, with one company, I work within a team, and then there's the overall company. My team's on WhatsApp. The overall company's on Flock. We're on WhatsApp because my team knows that sometimes we're not in front of a computer, and so it's just easier to get a hold of a person if you WhatsApp them. And I find that it's fine. And then Zoom, it's just like a video conferencing platform. Appearin, I use with Susan. Some people use Skype still. So whatever way you can communicate with someone. FaceTime, if you have an iPhone, you still do that, and it's inexpensive. But these are the ones I'm using at the moment. Time management and focus. So have you guys, there's a time management system that's called the Pomodoro system, where you work 25 minutes and then you're off 3 minutes and then you do it again. So there's a timer called Tomato Timer online, when you set it, and it does that. For you, so it counts 20, it dings once your 25 minutes are up and you have a 3-minute break. You can set it to different times. You can do 45 minutes, you can set it up on different ways. I like it. I don't do it always. I'm usually pretty disciplined and pretty good about keeping myself on time and like finishing deadlines. And I am the kind of person that if you tell me I need this by Friday and I slacked off all day Thursday, I won't sleep Thursday night because I told you I was going to have it to you by Friday. But I know some people don't want to do that. I think that's very valuable. But I find the tomato timer is pretty good if I have something that I need to finish quickly, or if I need to keep track of how many hours I've worked for clients. Because you can get in the zone with a client, and then if they're only paying you for 3 hours a week or 5 hours a week, then you're like, damn, I worked all my hours today. Every time zone, this is so great for a meeting, because you can just select what time zones you want and when are you having a call, and then you don't have to do the whole like, so you're 9 hours ahead and then Joe is like 7 hours ahead and then we need to meet here. Like, it literally gives you like a line with when the perfect time for a call is, whether this person's in Singapore, the other person's in Mexico, and someone else is in San Francisco. Really, really great. Stay focused. I can't use it because I work on social. So what it is for people, a time-wasting website is my work. So I can't do it, but if you ever need to stay focused, this will block websites that you tell them. I actually think my time-wasting website is Reddit. So it will be like, don't go on Reddit. And then toggle is also for keeping track of time. I kind of ballpark it. I don't always use it, but if you're looking for I need to work 2 hours for this one specific client, or maybe some clients can be like, I need you to tell me how many hours you worked, and I want to get like an actual number. This will save it for you, and you can be like, listen, I was working on this for 2 hours. here's my timer. If you're a lawyer, it's kind of like the same thing, like billable hours. It operates a similar way.
It's integrated with Asana.
Oh, you can do it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Toggles in Asana.
So you can't, well, you have to integrate.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
all
but there's an
I didn't
integration for
know.
toggle, yeah, so you can just go
Oh.
click
Well,
on the
there you
little
go. If
button.
you're with Asana, you can integrate with Toggle. These things are all working together. And then invoicing and finance. So if you are raw, taxes are slightly complicated. I'm not going to go into it because that's why I hire an accountant. But TurboTax saved my life. Transfer-wise, if you are abroad and you need to pay your landlord and you don't have a bank account in that place. I didn't have a bank account in Berlin. So when I arrived, the girl was like, oh, I need you to deposit money into this account. If you know how much a wire transfer is, you'll be like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm going to pay $100 on top of my rent just to get this money to Germany. Transfer-wise is like $5. So much cheaper. And the same, if you have a client that is in the Netherlands and they need to send you money, you can set up so they send it to you via TransferWise. So that you have no complication around, oh, but your bank account's American and I can't pay an American. You're like, oh, you can send it to me over TransferWise. Here you go.
Is Venmo and PayPal not international?
Not international, no.
Really?
They have different, so PayPal is, but not a lot of people use it. So a lot of more people use and trust TransferWise than PayPal. Don't know why. And then each country has their own Venmo that's called different things. I can't remember what I saw it. They have it a lot in Switzerland, in Sweden. And in Sweden they'll have, like, you'll be at a coffee cart and they'll be like, or you can pay me with like Bing, I don't know what it's called. I totally butchered that. Don't quote me on the name. But they have a different name. If you're traveling, you want to get a Charles Schwab account because there is no foreign transaction fees. There are no foreign ATM fees, no withdrawal fees. They send them back to you, which is really great. They pay you interest on your account, even if it's just a checking account, and even if it's very little. They have amazing customer support. If an ATM eats your credit card in Myanmar, you will get one FedEx to your hotel in 24 hours. They're amazing. And I'm really happy I don't pay ATM fees anywhere. It saves you a lot of money. I would say also, if you are going to be traveling, get a Chase Sapphire Preferred or a Barclay card. They have points. They don't have foreign transaction fees. That saves me about $200 a year just by having them. And then the fee for the card is $99 a year, so it makes up for it. I invoice using 2 different invoicing systems because it depends on the client. I prefer Invoicely because it keeps track of all of my clients, how much I have invoiced. And so it has like my kind of like what I made annually, and then I can give access to Invoicely to my accountant. And then he can see what I've invoiced, when I've gotten it. I can put expenses there. It's free, but you can also have the paid version. I have the paid version because it's worth it. And my accountant also, he helps out with the whole, you expense the paid version, so it comes out free. I keep track of my finances using Mint, which is a free app. However, if you have student loans and you turn it on, it's going to be really depressing. You have negative vibe. You're like, oh God, why?
You have no assets.
You have no assets. You have no money, and you're like, great, thanks. Because they'll calculate your debts and then Bill.com, that one, a lot of companies just have it already set up. And so it's easier for them to just pay you through Bill.com. You can set it up. It's just as easy at Invoicely, but Invoicely has a better user interface, in my opinion. And it just like keeps track of like your income and your sources of income and when they're coming. So that also helps you like prioritize perhaps a client that you're not like, maybe I'm doing up too much work and maybe I shouldn't because this other client is better. So you can do that with Invoicely. Figure that out. And last and not least, co-working and living. As you guys know, we're currently at a free co-working space for nonprofits, which is awesome.
They might not have been, I forgot to mention that. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, which is really great because, again, you don't want to work out of your home for more than 7 days because it's depressing and that's not great. So when you want to see people, you should go to a co-working space. Work From will actually tell you where the nearest co-working spaces are, paid and unpaid. and it'll also tell you coffee shops that have Wi-Fi all over, work from. Nomad List, and I know I mentioned them earlier, they have a membership that's $32, I think, or $34 for life, and they give you free 2-day passes to a lot of co-working spaces in different cities. So they have, for example, one in Ubud that I worked out of, and that's in Indonesian Bali. And then they have one here, which I'm going to take advantage of. They don't have like the WeWorks or the bigger ones, but they have the really small mom and pop co-working places, and it'll be like, you get 2 days free at this co-working space here, and you can get, like, I think it's a 1-day pass in every city that you go. So it pays to be in Nomad List. They also send you jobs. They also have a wonderful message board and community of people living in different cities. So if you're moving from one city to the next, you can like plug in there and say, oh, I'm coming to, you know, Rio de Janeiro, like what's happening? And there'll be events, there'll be people you can meet up. It's really useful. They also have set up cities by cost of living, power of Wi-Fi, amount of digital nomads, like livability, like all of this, like it's just like every city is segmented, and you can see like what the nomad score of each city is. So I like Nomad List a lot. Skyroam, that's actually the name of the it's kind of like a MiFi. You can take it anywhere you go. It's supposed to work everywhere. I haven't tried it outside of a city, but it's supposed to work in a rural area, because if you don't have Wi-Fi in the hotel, or if it's not reliable, you always need to have Wi-Fi. That's a really great solution. It's pretty affordable. 2 years ago, I rented it. I think it was $50 for, I think, 3 weeks that I rented, and I gave it back. And this was when I was in Asia. I know that they have it everywhere and they can ship it. It's this like orange-looking round thing. World Nomads, travel insurance. You can't do it if you're in the US because you can't. I don't know why. But if you're traveling around the world, it's pretty affordable travel insurance. They're really great. They're very responsive. I've only had one claim with them, but they were pretty good. I just like twisted my ankle when somewhere I didn't spend that much money in the ER, but it still kind of was like, okay, I'm going to try to expense it. No questions asked. Very easy. Send you a check. It's great. And it's pretty affordable per month. T-Mobile. So I still have my San Francisco phone. Perhaps not the most financially savvy decision, but I wanted to keep it. And with T-Mobile, $76, you have unlimited data and messages anywhere, almost anywhere. I think I haven't had it in 3 countries I haven't been to, but everywhere else is like you land and you immediately have a connection, and you can message your friends and be like, I landed, or you can message your mom and tell her you're safe. I always have to message my mom, tell her I'm safe. And then you have the same phone number, and the speed of the internet is not great, so you wouldn't be able to use it to kind of like toggle into your computer, but it's good for maps and it's good for messaging. So no video, no nothing, but it's good enough. And the way that it works is that I think they sell your number to the local provider, and then the local provider doesn't prioritize you, it prioritizes all of its clients, and then at the end, whatever they have left, they give to you, so it's never high speed. But I think it's good enough, so I like T-Mobile. And then for booking travel, I use Rome to Rio, because you can plug any city, even a very obscure city, to there, and it'll tell you how to get there, and it'll even say, you can take a car, you can take a bus, you can take a ferry, it won't be just flights. And it'll give you all of these different options and the prices. So I found that really useful, especially when you're like a city that it's not very common and you can't even find the airport, like Nîmes or Local, like it's very, very useful. Hopper, this is not only for people who want to like travel or live nomadly. I think everyone should use this. It tells you when to buy your ticket. So you put a destination, the dates that you're thinking, and then the app will tell you, buy it now, because you probably won't get a better deal than this. Or it'll tell you, nah, you should wait a few weeks because it's probably going to drop. And then it notifies you when the price drops.
Google Flights does that too.
Oh, they do? Oh, right.
But yeah, cool.
Google Flights, what's that? Learning something new. And then Airbnb, when I didn't want to be in a hostel and I wanted to have a kitchen and feel like I was home and I was living in a place, I did Airbnb because I think it's great. That's it.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Super helpful.